Hello, I'm here to talk about Article 13, which would allow Acton to participate in the state's fossil fuel-free demonstration program, which would require most new construction and major rehabilitation projects to have all-electric systems. In 2019, Acton published its first greenhouse gas inventory report, which showed that around 40% of our climate change-causing greenhouse gas emissions were from the fossil fuel use in our buildings. The year after that, this town meeting adopted a resolution entitled Declaring a Climate Emergency, a Better Future Starting Now. As part of the mobilization for that climate emergency, in 2021, the town passed a Building with Clean Energy bylaw, now Chapter AC, with the intent that new buildings and major rehabilitation would be done without the use of fossil fuel infrastructure such as natural gas, oil, or propane, unless the building commissioner issued a waiver for some part of a particular project that wasn't technically or financially feasible now without using fossil fuels. It was clear that we could not enact this bylaw on our own, that we needed the permission of the state legislature, so we also passed a request to the state legislature asking for permission to implement our bylaw. This kind of request is called a home rule petition. 7 other towns also passed similar bylaws and home rule petitions. Those particular petitions were not approved as is by the legislature, but the legislature did listen. And new climate legislation in 2022 allowed towns like ours a way forward by requiring the Department of Energy Resources, DOER, to create a program that allowed up to 10 communities to become fossil fuel free for new construction and major rehab, in line with our 2021 Building with Clean Energy bylaw. Article 13 is amendments to our existing Building with Clean Energy bylaw as part of meeting the eligibility requirements for participation in that 10-community fossil fuel-free demonstration project. We reviewed the first 4 layers during Article 12. As you may recall, the specialized opt-in stretch code introduced the concept of pathways, different ways of complying with the building code. The way the fossil fuel-free layer works is that it allows the all-electric pathway and generally disallows the others. In our original Chapter AC, a builder can apply for a waiver from the building commissioner if a use of the building is financially or technically unfeasible without some use of fossil fuels. Waivers that are turned down can be appealed to the Select Board. That's the same now as it was then. What's new in the DOER regulations is that there's an explicit exemption for buildings where the primary use is a research laboratory for scientific or medical research, or as hospitals or medical offices. These would simply have to meet the requirements of the specialized stretch code. The state and an independent organization, the Rocky Mountain Institute, looked at the costs of meeting the new stretch and specialized codes for a variety of new building types, including incentives available in 2023. In all cases, all-electric homes are less expensive to build and operate than mixed-fuel homes. The same is true for most commercial uses as well, especially as builders become more used to building them. For uses that raise costs, there's always the waiver process. As a reminder, this new bylaw does not apply to any home you are living in, unless you propose work that will change more than 50% of the usable square footage of the entire building. So, in particular for businesses in buildings with other businesses, as are most of Acton's businesses, the bylaw only would apply if the entire building is changing more than 50% of the square footage. Electricity is a delivery mechanism for energy. The New England grid, which delivers that energy, is becoming cleaner every year, supplied by more and more solar, wind, and other energy sources that don't create climate-changing carbon or methane pollution, that is, the greenhouse gases. On the other hand, directly using fossil fuels such as gas, oil, and propane will always cause the addition of greenhouse gases to our atmosphere, contributing to the destruction of a livable climate. Modern, all-electric homes also keep gas out of our houses, which is explosive and bad for our health. Having our new buildings not use fossil fuels is a clear next step for Acton and elsewhere. Please vote yes for Article 13 to help us reach Acton's climate goals.